Again, I'd like to thank everyone for coming here this evening. Over the last 4 years, you are at the 4th Annual Mayor's Ball for Education. And over the last 4 years, it has been my pleasure to be able to host this. As you know, this is an important way that we can recognize our teachers and those who work so hard on behalf of all of us to take care of our kids and give them really a great opportunity as they move into their adulthood and into their future. Teachers, as you know, have a very difficult job in front of them. Their pay is not as great as it should be. Their efforts are always first class. And of course, with the state funding and other funding mechanisms that they always don't have all the resources that they need. And so one of the things that we looked at 4 years ago, when I first had the opportunity to look at this issue, was what can we do to be able to put a little bit more, not only our proof of our caring, but also a little bit of income into their pockets, so to speak, to be able to help them work on behalf of the kids. And we're proud that in the last 4 years, we've been able to, after payment of all expenses, come up with $120,000 that we've been able to give back to teachers. And that has affected 106 teachers, but hundreds and hundreds of kids. And I can't tell you that when we deliver these grants to the teachers, how excited they are. And oftentimes we have the chance to meet the very students that it affects, and they are so excited and they are so energized, because what happens is the teachers realize that they're going to have the opportunity to be able to do certain projects that they would not have otherwise been able to do. And so they start talking to their kids a little bit, a few weeks early, a couple months early, and they say, hey, we're going to be able to do this. And they explain it to them, and they get really excited. And when the time comes that they're able actually to be able to put that program together and do it, it really makes a difference in these kids' lives. And I can tell you firsthand that when I go to the schools and I meet the teachers and I meet the administrators and I meet these students, these folks are all first class. These kids are unbelievable. These kids are, I know today we have this image that kids are, they don't pay attention, they play too much on the Xboxes and so forth. But these kids are engaged and they want to learn, they're willing to learn, but they just need a little assistance. And that assistance is given all the time by our teachers in our community. And I just want to say again, thank you to all of them. And again, let's give them all a big... This, of course, would not be possible without the assistance of all of you and those who have come before you, who have been so kind as to make contributions and come to this event each year. This particular event tonight, we also use it as an opportunity to not only thank, but to also recognize the various countries that have come to our community, be part of our community, that is also giving back as well. We are fortunate to have 9 different countries in the city of Anderson now doing business. Those companies which are showcased on some of the literature on your table are Canada, China, Germany, Israel, Italy, Japan, Mexico, Thailand, and the United Kingdom. These companies work with us on a daily basis to give job opportunities to these students when they get the opportunity to get out of school, to move forward, to get a job, and to be able to take care of their families. So we want to thank all of those companies and these particular countries who've thought enough about Anderson, Indiana to come here and invest. There are so many people I could thank. I'm not going to sit here and try to thank everyone. I do want to recognize 3 or 4 people who've meant a great deal to everything we're doing here. Of course, those of you in this room, and most of you have done something like this at different times for different organizations that you work for, and you know how hard it is to put together this type of event. I want to recognize Marie Sims and thank Marie again for everything that she's done. All these decorations you see out here is really the result of a lot of her hard work. I want to thank Julie Griswold for everything she's done. I just want to thank Stacy Johnson for all of her hard work, and also Samantha Pinkel. These guys, along with the rest of this committee, have done a great job in putting all this together, and I thank them so much. In addition, we have numerous corporate sponsors, and outside you saw the long list, and on this little flyer here in the back of it in small print, if you're my age, you got to put on glasses to read it. It's one after the other, so many people. But I do want to recognize the primary sponsors of Ivy Tech, Anderson University, Anderson Federation of Teachers, Cermax, Sertoma, St. Vincent, Herald Bulletin, Harrah's Hoosier Park, Kettletop, and Creatures of Habit. And I also need to recognize our primary sponsor, who for 4 years in a row has stepped up to be a primary sponsor of this ball, and that's the good folks of Community Hospital. Beth Tharp and her organization has always come to the forefront when it comes to so many issues in our community. They are primary sponsors of so many great things that happen in Anderson. So at this time, I'd like to, Beth can't be here this evening, but I do want to call up Tom Bannon. And I know Tom is here. And if Tom would come up, and I'd like to introduce him and also have Tom say a few words about why they are doing what they're doing here, why they've done it for these many years. And again, I just want to give thanks to the community. But Tom, go ahead.
Thank you, Mayor. I just would like to quickly thank the mayor and his team as well, because since day one, they've been great partners, not only in leading the community, but in working with the different corporations. And soon after the mayor took office, we had him out at our boardroom, and we just said, hey, we want to help you. And he said, we want to help you. And it's been a very collaborative effort and a real good partnership and a real pure partnership, because everybody has in mind what we want to do, and that's to better Anderson. So thank you, Mayor, and your team for all that you've done with that as well. I heard one clap, so I stopped, and then there we go. I was tricked by the one clap, and then it continued. And then I realized it was you clapping. It was you that started that clap. But as the mayor said, Beth is in Colorado right now, but it's my pleasure to represent the hospital. Also, I want to introduce a couple of people that are here tonight. Art Leak with Anderson University is the chair of our Board of Trustees, and Dr. Charlie Williams is the chair of our foundation board. So I appreciate those guys being here too tonight. But the education system is so important. We all know that. And as leaders of business, as a lot of us are, that's what is always one of the first things we talk about. How's the education system? When people come into town, how's the school system? And it's great that we can say with honesty that it's really, really good. And it keeps getting better year after year after year, produces so many good graduates, and is such a strong part of this community. And we just have to keep telling the story. And together we can do that. So thank you to all the people here that work in the schools, work on the school board. We are here for you. Anything that we can do, we're ready and willing to help. So thank you so much. And Mayor, I'll turn it back to you.
Thank you, Tom. Again, big hand for Tom and Beth and the rest of the folks at Community. I'm also proud this evening to be with another great partner that has worked with the city for many years. As all of you know, Anderson University is a critical part and critical component of our great city. Beginning as Anderson College many years ago, a lot of folks were drawn in our community because of the college and oftentimes stayed here. And then later, as it became a university, it continued to grow not only in reputation, but in the folks that it attracted that continued to help make our community what it is today. They've been very blessed over the years to have great leadership, and that blessing has continued with the leadership that it has today. It's been my honor, and I've been very proud to be able to work with the current president since the time that I did have opportunity to take office. In fact, I've spoken to John in the past about the fact that his mother was my psychology teacher when I was at Anderson High School. Earlier, somebody said, "Are you sure she wasn't your psychologist?" I think she was my psychology teacher. But she did a great job, and it's no wonder to me that she had such a great child as she did, who's been such a great leader, not only, as you all know, in the United States to help make America safe, but in coming back home to be able to give great leadership here at Anderson University. It's my pleasure to introduce to you, for the presentation of the Anderson University Scholarship Presentation, President John Pistole.
Well, thank you, Mayor, and I hope that my mom didn't affect you too adversely. I am curious, though, that there's people of a certain vintage, I'll say, that may have had Elizabeth Pistole as a psychology teacher. Just a show of hands if you did. Oh, my goodness. And you're still also going strong, hopefully. So, yeah, as am I. Yes. I'm a product of Park Place Elementary School, Central Junior High, Anderson High School, Anderson College at the time, IU, McKinney Law School, and back. And what I learned at each of those schools helped equip me to make a difference in the world. And so it's just, I have a great debt of gratitude to everybody in higher ed. I'm one of my three siblings and both parents, all in education. So I was a black sheep of the family until I came back, so I was glad to do that. I'm here tonight with Stephanie Moran, who many of you know. If you don't know, you should know Stephanie, who does a lot of community outreach with us. And then our two scholarship award winners, and first Samantha Kalesa, who is a sophomore, Anderson High School grad from 2018, and is looking at a couple of different majors in terms of exercise science and psychology and different things, to do a lot of good work, and she's had great success her freshman year. And then in addition to all the things that she's been involved in, she's a mentor now for freshmen and things. And then Molly Copeland is a freshman. Why don't you guys just stand up? So Samantha is first over here, and then Molly is on the right here. Molly just graduated from Anderson High School in 2019, and she is a double major in chemistry and Spanish. So put that together, and you get a pre-med major. Her goal is to become a general surgeon. And so both Anderson High School grads both grew up here, and they are representative of the great school system that we have here in the city. So thank you, ladies, for being here. And thank you, Mayor, for an opportunity to be here, the partnership.
Thank you, President Pistole. Thank you again for everything that you do for our community. I'd also like at this time to introduce an individual who's going to provide to us the Ivy Tech scholarship presentation. Ivy Tech, again, as Anderson University has very much been instrumental in our community. When they built their brand new campus out off I-69 and on the south side of town 4 years ago, when we had our first Mayor's Ball, they were so kind as to be able to allow us to use their venue for the ball. And many of you were probably there during that. And it was really a neat event. It gave us a chance to showcase that beautiful campus. Since that time, they have worked with their state leaders to be able to make the community college experience really meaningful to people in our community, giving opportunities to earn not only associate's degrees, but also certificates to be able to help and provide the proof of their skills as they move forward in the workforce. So we're very proud to be able to continue to work closely with Ivy Tech. And it's my pleasure at this time to introduce to you for this presentation, Pistole Ardefaro. Crystal, did I say that right? Am I close? Thank you, Chris. And also, Eric Davis, our principal of Anderson High School.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Well, you're the mayor, so however you said my name, that's how we're going to go with it. But I am going to say it. Okay. All right, thank you. So my name is Chris. It's Crystal, but I go by Chris. Chris Ardefaro. I'm the workforce development consultant at the Anderson campus of Ivy Tech. My colleagues there know I'm long-winded, so people here who know me know that I'm long-winded. So they made sure I brought written comments. So I'm honored to be here this evening at an event that supports such an important part of our community, and that is education. I come from a family of educators, and I graduated public high school, so. Ivy Tech feels fortunate to be a part of a community that truly values its public school teachers and the education they provide our children. Yes, Tammy, I'm looking at you. And we are even more fortunate to have a mayor that sees the value in investing in these teachers and their classrooms. So first and foremost, we want to say thank you to Mayor Broderick and to the committee that is instrumental in putting together an event like this one tonight. So, as a community partner and an advocate for education, Ivy Tech Anderson would like to present this evening a scholarship equal to a free full semester at Ivy Tech Anderson to a deserving Anderson High School senior. We look forward to working with you in identifying a deserving student of this award and providing them an opportunity to achieve their degree and career aspirations. We appreciate all that you do to support your teachers, and we want to also say thank you to all the teachers in the room tonight. Show of hands, all the teachers. Fantastic. Thank you. You really are the ones who truly make a difference in the lives of children in our community that will leave an impact for years and years. Thank you so much. And that is for you. Yeah, my comments are back there. Thank you.
Thank you, Chris. And Eric, before you step off, I'm going to recognize a few folks in a minute, but I want to, since Eric's up here, I do want to recognize Eric. Eric is the principal of Anderson High School. And as you guys know, there's been a lot of great things going on at the high school this year. Of course, as you know, last year, the good folks of our community were wise enough to endorse and vote in favor of the referendum that brought funds into the community to upgrade the schools across the school system. And Anderson High School was a benefactor of that. But also, their students in band did such a great job this year and came in number one, right? Number one state. All right. So I'd just like to introduce Eric and have him say a couple of words because, again, when I go out and deliver these scholarships, Eric's always kind enough to walk through the school with me. And as I get to meet the teachers and look at the students, he can tell you again firsthand how excited these folks are about this and how meaningful it is to them. Eric?
Thank you, Mayor Broderick. I just want to say thank you to everyone for being here on this evening. We do want to show all of our teachers that we greatly appreciate what they do every day in the classroom. I am very excited tonight that we have with us board members, superintendent, all the teachers from across the county and especially from Anderson Community Schools. But again, we just want you to know that we appreciate all of you. We appreciate you for giving to the students of this community and know that we greatly appreciate everything that you do for this great community. Thank you.
Thank you, Eric. This time I'd like to introduce, all of you folks are leaders. And to be honest, if I said, hey, everybody has anything to do with education that's made a real difference in our community, everyone in the room would stand up. And I certainly understand that. But I would at this time like to introduce our superintendent of public instruction here in our community, Tim Smith. And I'd also like to have come up at the same time the president of our school board, Pat Hill, who's also here, and also the president of the Anderson Federation of Teachers, Randy Harrison, who's also here. If you guys would all come up here right now here, just for a minute. And again, I'd just like to thank all the teachers, all the principals, all the educators that have taken a minute out of your lives to be here because you give so much each day. So at this time, I'd like to have Tim, if you don't mind here for a second. Tim has been a great leader, a great superintendent, and again, helped push through the referendum that brought about $42 million in investment into our schools. And thank all of you that were kind enough to vote in favor of that referendum because I think we're already seeing that it's making a difference. But really what makes a difference, of course, is our schools and our educators. And I also want to thank all the folks with our school boards that are here tonight. I know Jeff Bronco's here. I'd seen Jeff earlier. I appreciate everything, Jeff, that you do and the compassion that you bring on behalf of students and the folks that you represent. So Tim, at this time, if you don't mind, you might say a few words about what we're not just doing here, but what's going on in our community schools presently.
Absolutely. Thank you, Mayor. And I, too, again, it'll be echoed with everybody that speaks tonight. We want to thank everybody for being here and being a part of this event tonight. Tremendous impact these grants make that the mayor gives out every year to the kids in our schools. Terry Austin, Tim Lannon, I know you're here tonight. Those two break their necks to help us downtown Indianapolis. We need more of them because we would love to do so much more, but sometimes our hands are held and not allowed to do that. We have amazing teachers, amazing kids, and an amazing community, and you people are part of that support what we're doing in Anderson Community Schools. If you've not been out to our new Anderson Intermediate, the remodeled Eastside Middle School, please stop by for a visit. You will be amazed at what the taxpaying money from the referendum has done to impact that building and those children's lives in just a few short weeks for the beginning of school this year. We live in a world, unfortunately, that focuses on the negative. If any of you have ever been on social media, let's ask you this, has anybody not ever been on social media? It is a crucifixion world that only focuses on the negative. You're going to see things on that that don't emulate the many great things we have going on in our schools and all the schools throughout the county. Our teachers work countless hours, some right here, putting time, effort, and their own personal monies into what we do to educate our kids. The facility upgrades that we are making this year and are continuing to make through the referendum process are giving our kids what they deserve. And that's the best educational opportunities and the best facilities that they deserve. We don't need to be anybody else but us. And that's what we're going to be. And our kids are graduates doing great things in the world, going to college, going to be surgeons, going to be teachers, going to be lawyers. The success stories, unfortunately, don't get out there as often as they should. But we have those every day, every year when those kids walk across that stage. And I just want to thank you again for everything you do. Thank the mayor for what he's done in this ball the past 4 years, raising all this money to go directly back to our kids in this community. And that's an amazing feat that doesn't happen many places, and I'm proud to be a part of what that does here for Anderson Community Schools. So thank you again very much for being here tonight.
Thank you, sir, very much. I'd also like to introduce and also say a few words, if I could, the president of our school board. As you guys know, school board is an elected position. It's a non-political elected position, and the folks that serve on it, the pay is really virtually nothing. And the reality is, it is their love of education and their concern about the kids is the reason why they do what they do. And so I'm very proud to introduce their president and ask Pat to come up and say a few words if you would. Please, Pat Hill.
Thank you all, and I would echo again, thank you all for being here. You know, as a school board, as a matter of fact, I just told the superintendent this again the other day, you know, our concentration is that classroom, those teachers, those kids, and what goes on within it. But it really takes community to make that happen. So it's things like this, the city administration, all of the components of our Anderson community that bring that together. Excuse me. I can't really say how proud I am to work with all the people that I do, all the great teachers, staff, from the bus drivers that pick the kids up in the morning, to the lunch people, to, you know, the art teachers who are just, you know, trying to pull together what they can to make those kids, you know, creativity and imagination spark. It's great. You know, we've been able to do a lot of things around helping our children. The components of their mental health, their overall well-being. The backpack program, for those who don't know, is some of our schools put together backpacks so that kids can go home on the weekend and make sure that they have food. Because if you can't learn, if your mind's on hunger, right? So food distribution programs, the expansion of things, Eric Davis, Kelly Durr, now Jason Neal, D26, that great program. So we're turning out kids that are getting great careers, and they're staying in this region, they're staying in the city, Mayor, because of that. So I can't say enough of thank you for what you do to help us make those dreams possible.
Thank you very much. And finally, I'd like to recognize and step up here for a moment, Randy Harris. And Randy is the president of the Anderson Federation of Teachers. And one of the reasons I like to do this is because you can go to a lot of communities, and you're not necessarily always going to see the superintendent, the president of the school board, and the president of the Federation of Teachers standing side by side. They do that here because they care about kids. They work together each and every day for the betterment of our community. And like all of us, while you may have disagreements from time to time on things, they never lose sight of the big picture. And they always work together, and they're friends, and I'm so glad to call them friends myself, and the fact that they're here together standing on behalf of education. So, Randy?
Thank you, Mayor Broderick. I appreciate that.
Thank you, buddy.
I'll start by saying if you are an educator, support staff, a board member, administrator, anybody with Anderson Community Schools, please stand up. Come on. I see you all out there. Stand up. I'm proud to not only be with the superintendent and the board president, but with all these individuals. These are the faces that I see in the classrooms, because I do teach Ivy Tech dual credit. Some of these ladies to my left were in my political science course, and I think got dual credit. So these are the faces that I see out in the classrooms when I do visit outside of the high school, but they're also the faces that I saw pushing for the referendum. And I know some of them are the faces that I see utilizing the grant money. And we are very appreciative of all the support. We put that to good use, and it is a fundraiser. So get your checkbooks out and let's get it over $200,000 tonight. Thank you.
Thank you, Randy. There you go. If you haven't had a chance, when you're out in the other room, you might check the little videotape. You don't have to pay attention to the part about me talking, but there are some teachers on there talking about the importance and what these grants meant to them. And so it's definitely worth taking a moment to look at that. Also, I just want to remind everybody that's here that are teachers, just to remind you again that we are going to be taking applications. I think we're in that process maybe even right now as we speak. We did that this year a little different because we wanted to make sure that folks, you know in your minds what you want to do, so there's no reason to wait for this to occur before you start applying. So you go ahead and apply now if you haven't already. That's going to run through about mid-November. November what? 20th. We got one. November 1. Okay. So November 1, get your applications in. For those of you who don't know much about that, it's basically a pretty simple application. Nobody gets kicked out because they didn't dot an I or cross a T or something. It's not like English class. No offense to English teachers. But the idea is to obviously showcase what you think is important that you can do on behalf of students. And then we look at that and we have it graded in the blind, so to speak. We have different folks throughout the community and outside of the community. In the past, we've used folks with Anderson University, Ball State University, our community foundation, and others. And they grade it without knowing what school it's from, who the teachers are, et cetera, and they put down in a grid, and then we take the highest, and then we get them out. We've been fortunate in the last few years to be able to give most of those applicants. And so tonight, based upon your generosity, hopefully, we'll be able to give all the applicants, because I can tell you that it's rare to see a request that isn't a good request that has a great deal of merit. So hopefully tonight, you guys will be able to help us make that a reality. It's also my pleasure, finally, to introduce tonight who is going to be our keynote speaker. This young lady has spoke here in the past. We've called upon her this time as well as in the past because she gives such a compelling story about how important this grant is and what the real difference has made to the students in her classroom. So at this time, it's my pleasure to introduce to you as our keynote speaker, Pam Jackson. Pamela?
Oh, come out. Okay. I'm kind of caught off guard. I knew I was going to come and say thank you because I really do appreciate the grants that I've gotten from Mayor. Thank you so much. I appreciate it more than you can imagine. Thank you. And from the supporters, the parents, other staff, friends, enemies, I'll take it all. But the grant, last year, I did not get a chance to come because at one of our e-learning days, I got news that my sister had passed. So when I was asked to come, I was just overwhelmed that I couldn't come. So I do want to thank you for the one from last year also. And this year, my grant is about reading, the Reading Storyland. And just trying to get our kids not just to read different genres and at a young age. They're first grade. I have first graders, y'all. I have first graders. That's all I have to say. I have first graders. And they are something else. But trying to get them to read, I also want to connect that with writing. And I want them to have imagination and creativity and to just be alive and excited. As excited as I am when I get in there in the morning, I wake up every morning, you can ask my daughter, and I pray for my students and for us to have a good day. And I said, Lord, let me say the right things. Don't let me be mean to someone's child. And I walk in, and I greet them in the mornings. They have to say, good morning, Miss Jackson, and I will, in turn, speak to them with their name and tell them how cute they are and all this stuff. But I want them to be creative, and they just feel free to say whatever you need to say. We were talking the other day, and we were going to write in our journal. What would you be if you could be any animal? What would you choose to be? Of course, what? a dog, a cat. What about unicorn? I want to be a unicorn. I said, okay, you want to be a unicorn? Yes. I said, okay. And here's the question. A lot of first graders can tell you black, white, red if you ask them just direct questions. But if you ask why do you want to be a unicorn? She looked at me like, why don't you want to be a unicorn? So I again asked her, but why? She said, because they drink milk. I said, they drink milk? Yes. I said, well, how do you know? Because they do. I said, well, where do they get it from? Places. And I'm falling in love with this little girl because she's taking me there. I can see where she's going. And she said, places? I said, places? I said, like what? From a plate and a bucket. I said, okay, a bucket. And that just cheered me up because this little girl's imagination is alive. She's going to be a writer, y'all. She is going to be, and excuse me for saying y'all, I'm from Louisiana. That's how we talk, y'all, okay? But she's going to be a writer, and we want our kids to be creative. And what this grant has afforded me to do is to be able to step out a little bit, get some different things in my classroom that my kids can use, that they can be creative and write and learn and read and roll around on the floor. I have pillows they could roll around, take your shoes off, be comfortable. I want you to learn. I want you to work and be happy in C-127. I want you to be so happy that when it's time to go home, you're not going to want to go. And it's already happening. And they walk up and go, Mommy, Miss Jackson, Grandma. I'm like, no, look. Not Grandma. You can call me Mommy. No, I am a grandma. I have three wonderful grandkids. One's about to be 15. And we're praying that we make it through that. And homecoming is coming. And oh my God, it's just exciting. But I'm going to keep it short. It's probably too late, right? I've talked too much already, but it's okay. You don't have anywhere to go. But I do want to thank you. I want to thank this community. I love Anderson. I love school. I love teaching. I love watching these little ones that come to you with snotty noses and, can you tie my shoes? And then at the end of first grade, they're running out of there. They're excited. They're excited about going to second grade and no more tying my shoe. I can do it myself. I can do this myself. I don't need you for this anymore. And I love that independence. I've had Mr. Sahusky's boys. I've had both of the Sahusky boys, so I'm a strong teacher. Eli, that's my boy. But just watching these babies grow. In Anderson, we're growing some good kids. We are growing some good kids. The teachers, when I went home Friday night at 7:30, I'm walking out of the building at 7:30 on a Friday, you don't even think about that. You just think about what you have to do and how to make them happy. I want when they come in Monday morning to be excited and run to the room because they're excited to be in that room. They're coming to a place of safety and love, caring, nurture, laughter. I love to laugh and I love to dance. We party like it's 1999 in that classroom. We just get down with it. And they love to see Miss Jackson dance because they love me and I love them. But just support your educators. And this is such an opportunity, and you all give so much that we're able to have these grants and that we're able to buy things that we couldn't necessarily get out of our own pockets that makes our classrooms run so much smoother and give our children a chance to say, I love my school, I love learning, and they're excited about it. So I just want to say, again, thank you. I did not know I was going to be the keynote speaker. I had no idea. When they said it, I said, oh my God. And my daughter's back there with me, and I was kicking her like, I'm not ready. And I thought I had some paper in my purse that I was going to peek because there's no podium. And it's like, I can't even hide. I'm out here. I'm just here. So I just came up. And I appreciate you taking the time to listen to me. Remember our educators, if you believe in pray and pray for us. Pray for those babies. Pray for those parents. You know, just let's get behind each other. And if you don't believe in praying, think about it anyway. That we're out here and we have a mission, we have a purpose. We were created to do what we do. And that's to educate our babies and send them on to be the doctor, lawyers, administrators, and teachers. And speaking of teacher, my daughter, I have to give a few. My daughter's here with me, and she's 30-something. And she's following me. I became a teacher at 30-something, and she's going back into the education field, getting her degree to become a teacher because she believes in it. So we're praying that we'll get more younger people from Anderson to stay in Anderson and become teachers and live here and help grow this community. Again, thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Samantha. I appreciate it. I got you, girl.
Let's hear it again. Thank you, Pamela. Pamela really does stand up. She embodies the real spirit and love that our teachers have in our community. Thank you, Pamela, for everything you do. I can tell you that you can rely on these teachers to know what they need. And when they say they need it, they mean it, and they will use it. So again, we ask that you tonight open up your hearts and your pocketbooks a little bit to give back. And I do want you to know that every dollar that's raised here, every dollar, except for what it took to put this on, and that's long since been paid for, every dollar that comes out goes straight to these teachers.
Sold it, number 5 for $100. I said, "Can I get 6.5?" Sold it, $600. Somebody get $400, somebody get $500, let's go. Somebody get $500, $200, somebody get $200, that's 2, now 3. 3, now I got 2, now it's 300. I got 2.
And now finally, this great group has been sitting back here waiting for a long time to put on a great show tonight.